with South Park Interiors. I'm here at Campus Connex and with Student Housing Insight. So we are at Dormakaba, and I am with Dan, and we're going to talk a little bit about what they do for the student housing industry. So what do you do for the student housing industry?
Well, thank you, Heather. Dormakaba is, we are a manufacturer, supplier for electronic access control products, electronic locks, access control products, and for the student housing in particular, what's a couple of our leading products have been the in-sync deadbolt lock, which is a traditional.
And that's what's probably in a lot of student housing currently.
Yes.
Okay, so this is what we're used to seeing, which is great. Okay.
And then going forward, we are introducing our new Nova lock.
Okay, tell me about this. Like, what are we bringing to the table here?
What we're bringing to the table, as you see with the in-sync lock, you have a particular key that will actually go inside the lock and operates the deadbolt.
Okay.
With the Nova lock, you have a sealed reader. You have the option of using a card, a key fob, or your cell phone. So for mobile keying, the resident can come in, bring their phone up to the lock, and operate it.
Opens it right there.
And it opens it and locks it.
Nice. So. And you're working off any, obviously, phone system. You're not limited to anything that the student has as far as phones or software, anything on there.
Correct.
Okay.
Apples, Droids, anything.
Okay.
Well, what Dormakaba developed as well is one of our sister companies is the Logic company, and that's who we partnered with for the BlueSky app.
Okay, so tell me about the BlueSky app. Like, what makes that? That's just how you get in. Like, that's just the system that you use on there.
This is what you use.
Okay.
So it's just to kind of go through the step-by-step what would happen. As me as a resident, or my son moving into an apartment community with using our system, the property can say, we can give you a fob, we can give you a card, we can give you a wristband, or also, if you like, we can give you a mobile key credential.
So it's up to the property to figure out what they want to supply to.
That's correct.
Everywhere. Okay, so, and this is the same, is this a different system or the same system?
This is the Nova lock is the new lock here. This is our RT lock. Okay. In particular, what the difference you'll see is mechanically the mortise hardware. So it has a full mortise lock set. Some of the student developers will like this product here for just the added security, and also so that when the door closes, it always
automatically locks.
Correct.
Okay, that's nice. That's really nice.
Also, and now just to kind of one other thing that lock will do is you can use this for perimeter doors, common area doors, amenity doors. So any door that you want to have self-latching, the residents will have access to that with the same key fob.
So wouldn't it make sense if you're doing all the units to do all the amenity spaces as well through the same? I mean, once they're with you doing one thing, they should just do it all throughout.
Oh yeah.
Everything. And that's probably what you do most of.
Mostly, yeah. The convenience of the residents having one key fob or one credential to access, that's what you'd have. That's what you'll provide.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about, being a parent and having all these students going. Tell me a little bit about the security in the spaces in the units or the amenity spaces. What are some of the things that developers and owners come back at you with? Like, how do you
work with that?
How do you manage that?
That's a good question, because one of the big things that the developers, the operators want, and what we can do with our software, especially for student housing, is I have multiple roommates sharing an apartment.
Right.
And to help with the operators is each individual roommate has their own key. So that if one of them loses a key fob, I don't have to create 4 new key fobs and track down all 4 residents living in that apartment.
But that also helps you track who's kind of coming and going, right?
It
so
does.
That if I see my roommates coming and going or doing that, okay.
The locks keep an audit trail record.
Nice.
So every time a key fob is used into the lock, it's going to keep track of that.
And that would also say for the amenity areas as well. I mean, that just makes sense that you would see who's coming and going to different areas. So how does that work within the unit? So if you're giving your key fob or key to somebody else, obviously they could use it. Or could they use a code on your phone to get in if you give them access, or how does that work?
It depends on the property. Now the property with the new, the BLE mobile key-in, one of the features we are bringing to the operators is that the residents can go to the property management and have them give them, let them assign key fobs from their phone.
Okay.
So great thing. So a student may have his older brother coming into town to visit for the weekend.
Right.
So now I email him the
access to get in.
The access to get in.
Okay. And then again, you can kind of track that. It still relates back to the main person who has.
Correct.
That. Okay. So that's good. Are you finding that the technology with using the phones and the systems, is it more prevalent in a certain area of the country, or are more areas getting on board with it faster than different areas?
No, I think it's going across it's more of the demographics and the student housing. I believe we're going to see a lot more of the students because this is their life link. So this is what you'll see.
I think that's great, and everybody's jumping aboard. How is installation and cost-wise? I mean, you don't have to speak to specifics, but is that something that you found a deterrent, or is it fairly reasonable to?
No, it's very reasonable. Typically, the ROI for the student housing developers is under a 2-year period to recoup it.
Yeah.
You asked about the door prep. This is a traditional door deadbolt prep.
Okay.
So you have a 2 1/8 inch hole here in the front, and then you have your standard deadbolt on the edge.
Okay, good. This is good. Do you see, I know you're bringing this great technology to the table. Are there things happening within the next year or 2 years that you think are exciting that are coming to the table within this? Or do you think it's just more of adapting to what's people using their cell phones?
I think that we're starting to see more of the smart apartment automation, that whole buzz right now. So it's still a little bit of a Wild West world out there with who's really doing what's really needed. Yeah. But that's what we're starting to get into.
It's so exciting. I mean, that's kind of fun for you guys to be on the forefront and be able to put this into the student housing. And that's exciting.
Yes.
That's good. All right. Well, thank you so much. I love meeting you.
Nice to meet you, Heather.
Hope all goes well.
All right. Thank you.